Okay, good morning, Cyprus. So, we are going to just read the last couple of pages of chapter 6, and then we're going to start to think about looking back over chapter 5 and 6. We found out lots of information about Ted, and the conversation with Salim enlightened us slightly to how Ted perceives his autism. And today we're going to spend some time for you guys to just have a look and do a bit of research yourself to better understand some of the things that Ted may be feeling and the ways that he may be trying to understand the world. Okay, so to start with, we'll just have a look at picking up from where we left off. So remember, they've just arrived and they're getting in the queue at the London Eye, and they've just found out that it's going to be half an hour to get their ticket and then half an hour from getting the ticket to boarding the London Eye. Here we go. A whole hour? Kat groaned. Maybe that is too long. Kat, I said, an hour is a drop in the eternal ocean of time. This is what Father Russell at our church said once about the human lifespan. Salim grinned. Too right. He took his camera out again and did another shot from where we were standing. I asked if I could take one. Don't let him, Salim, Kat said. Ted's useless at stuff like that. You'll end up with a paving stone and half a trainer. But Salim didn't listen. He gave me the camera and I aimed through the viewfinder to the crux of the wheel. It jogged when I pressed the button. I took the camera away from my eye to see a man walking towards us. He wore an old leather jacket, unzipped, and a black t-shirt with writing on it. But I didn't notice what it said. He was dark-haired with an afternoon shadow on his chin, which is what Dad says he gets at weekends when he has a day off shaving. As the stranger drew near, he threw a cigarette to the ground and stubbed it out under his heel, for which he could have been fined £1,000 for dropping litter, but nobody seemed to notice apart from me. He came right up. Excuse me, he asked. Are you looking for a ticket? Kat explained that we were queuing for 5 tickets. The strange man said he'd give us one if he had if we liked. He said he was up near the front of the queue to board, but he changed his mind. He just couldn't face it. You couldn't face it, said Salim. He stared at the ticket in the man's hand and then up at the eye. I'm claustrophobic. I'd pass out, being stuck in one of those Perspex pods. Forgetting that it's wrong to speak to strangers, I said, the pods are made of steel and glass, not Perspex. That's worse. Glass? No thanks. The glass is reinforced. It's very strong and safe. So you don't want your ticket? Salim interrupted. It's yours for the taking. The strange man held it out. It's the 11:30 boarding. That girl over there, he turned and pointed to a girl in sunglasses and a pink fluffy jacket, is holding my place. They'll be boarding soon. Salim turned to Kat. What'd you say? Dunno, said Kat. Mum said to get tickets for everyone. It's a nice offer, but... My hand was shaking itself out because I just remembered that you are not supposed to speak to strangers or accept gifts from them. But Salim had his hands up saying, well, none of us get up there at this rate, the queue is moving. And Kat, I could see, was weighing things in the balance, which means she was deciding what to do. As the oldest, she was in charge. Okay, she said. Mum and Aunt Glo will be glad to save the money, I bet, not to mention the time. And Ted and I have already been up. You take it, Salim, you're the guest. The man handed over the ticket and led us to where he'd been standing in the queue. My hand shook itself out because this meant I wouldn't be flying the eye after all that day. It was down to a stranger with an afternoon shadow whom we shouldn't have even talked to. Have fun, the man said, smiling. Thanks a million, said Salim. The edges of his lips nearly reached his ears. Kat and I kept Salim company in the queue until we got to the man who collected the tickets, was shouting, 11:30 boarders, step this way. Salim gave up his free ticket and winked at us and laughed. Then he went with a group of people to the zigzag ramp at the Eye's entrance. We'll meet you by the exit, Kat called. Over there. Salim nodded. We saw him through the glass, advancing up the gangplank until he became just a shadow. He reached the spot where the pod's doors opened and closed, and his silhouette gave us a last wave. Then he hurried on with several others. I counted how many got on. 21, including him. The pod door closed behind them. I looked at my watch. It said 11:32, May the 24th. He'll be down at 12:02, I told Kat. Okay, so what I want you to think about is this. Like I said, we've found out, haven't we, that Ted, our main character, is autistic, and the book has revealed to us how he perceives the disability, or what he calls his syndrome, doesn't he? So today I'd like you to research a bit further and understand some of the ways that Ted may see the world. Now, it's important that we remember that autism does not affect everybody in the same way. Everyone who's autistic is different, exactly the same as everybody in the world is different. So it's not about stereotyping, but it's about looking at some of the characteristics, some of the key features of the disability, and thinking about how that might change a person's view and the way a person interacts with others. So I'd like you to complete some research, and I've got a website that I'll share the link with on the activity. I'd like you to record some of the things you found out, and also as you go along, some of the questions that you've got. Now, you can present that however you want. Okay, you don't have to do it in a table. You might just put a little column with some of the questions in, almost like a thinking column. You might do a bubble map to show some of the things you've found out. You might just do it as a bullet point list. It's completely up to you and how you set that out. So what I'd like you to do is use the link below, okay, which will take you to the National Autistic Society website, and there's a page on there. So if you go through that link that's on the portfolio or on the activity, it will then take you to this website. Okay, it looks like this. Okay, and it takes you to the What is Autism page. Okay, there is a really good video, okay, that I would recommend that you watch. Okay, this video here is really clear, and then it talks through some of the main, okay, areas of need for a person who has autism. So some of the information on here, you don't need to write everything, you just need to write some key things, some things that interest you, some things you maybe didn't know, and some things that interest you. So I look forward to seeing what you find, okay, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your research. Again, this would be something that I'd really like you to bring into school on Tuesday, so if you make notes of it on paper, please keep them handy. Once you've taken your picture and sent it in, keep hold of them, and it's something that we could put on our working wall in the classroom when we get back in on Tuesday. So look forward to seeing it on Dojo, and I will see you on Monday, or speak to you on Monday. Have a lovely weekend.